We shift our focus to this story now. Rape-accused Pastor Timothy Omotoso has taken the stand in the Gqeberha High Court in the Eastern Cape. He is the first witness to be called by the defense team. Omotoso and his co-accused Zukiswa Sito and Lusanda Solani face a string of charges, including racketeering, trafficking in persons for sexual purposes, rape as well as sexual assault. During his testimony led by his lawyer Peter Doberman, Omotoso details the ins and outs of his church, such as membership and how the church makes money through offerings and tithes. Omotoso said about 15 to 20 girls stayed in his mission house, but denied most of the girls were minors. He says most of them came to his house to be healed, as some suffered from epilepsy. Now, as we continue with the rape case, Pastor Timothy Omotoso appeared in court today, as stated. To get more insights, we're joined by SABC News reporter Lerato Fekisi. Good afternoon, Lerato. So the case resumed today. This is a long-running trial. So let's start with just reminding the viewers of where exactly we are in the case.
We're currently where we are right now is that the state has finished its case. In August, the state said that it's done with cross-examination of its witnesses, and if anything was pleading with the defense to stop making this a stop-and-start affair, because this case dates back to 2017, and for a long time the defense has been trying to bring forward applications which speak into charges against the accused being dropped for what they say is an unfair trial, where they've been alleging, like they did in August when they asked for Judge Omaskuman to clear the accused of all their cases, saying that the former state prosecutor Ngabandelo has recused himself from this case, did in fact persuade the witnesses to commit perjury, that is to lie on the stand. But Omaskuman has been adamant that all evidence presented by the state has been a truthful depiction from the witnesses, and if anything, this case must now hurry and come to an end. And that's how we saw this morning the defense bringing, to our surprise, actually Omotoso to the stand, and he laid down his case in which he stated how he formed the church in South Africa, the branches he has globally and also in the country as well.
Take us through that testimony by Omotoso.
Well, in the testimony, he first spoke of how he has branches, like I said, globally, and then he was asked then how did the church, Jesus Dominion International, find its roots in South Africa, and he said that God actually told him to come to South Africa, and when he arrives here, God will give him a strict instruction what to do when he's here. And then when he's here, he was instructed to start a branch. He currently has 10 to 15 branches currently operating in the country. And then the big question then focused on the mission house, that, you know, it is in where 15 to 20 girls were housed.
Yes.
He was asked why these girls were housed here and the age group of the girls. He said that the age groups varied from 15 to 14, the youngest being 15 to 40, the youngest being 15. And when he was asked, did the parents consent to a minor being in the house? And he said, yes, the parents had agreed. They'd been told by the pastor the child is going there. And then the question came as to why the girls were there, why such a high number of girls in one house. And he said that they were there either to be trained to become musicians through the choir, or girls that came for disadvantaged backgrounds that wanted to grow their musical instruments in terms of playing an instrument, or wanted to grow their vocal ability. And because he said he was a self-taught musician, he felt that he could nurture and groom these girls to become these stars they wanted to become musically. And then he was asked at any time in the house, was there any other male figure besides him? And he said at all times it was only him who was the male figure there with these 20 girls, but there would be someone who's an overseer who would ask and give money to go buy food and necessity to take care of the girls. But he also did state, it was also quite interesting, that his own house, which he stayed in, was 25 minutes away from the mission house in Mhlanga where these girls stayed. And Peter Doberman asked him then, why would you sleep at the mission house when your house is literally 25 minutes away? Because you said that you came here to mentor, train the girls, so you could do that and then just go home. And he said that he slept there because sometimes the training of the girls in terms of vocal training, instrument training, choir training, and also because they had a routine in terms of prayer, he wanted to oversee that. And he said sometimes he would get tired and then he would just fall asleep at the house. And also interestingly, he was asked that his wife and his family were staying in this house, which was 25 minutes away, and Doberman asked, did your wife ever then come and sleep with you in the house, because you had been there quite often more than her? And he said, no, my wife would come and visit very rarely, not as much as I did, but she never slept in the house. He did admit that young girls would come to his house, to his own private room. He had his own private room in the house. The girls either had private rooms or they shared rooms, but he had his own room that girls were allowed to come in.
All right.
And he said when they came into this room, it was literally more on a mentoring basis. Some came to ask for prayer, but nothing ever sexually did ever happen in that room.
So quite a lot was done today in court or heard. He continues on the stand tomorrow?
Absolutely. So tomorrow we'll see him actually being grilled and cross-examined by the state. Today was literally just like laying his case and how he got his membership and stating that, you know what, there was no sexual advances done by him to any of the ladies. And if anything, he's been a father figure to these girls who came from backgrounds where there was no mentoring or father figure or musical background. So tomorrow we'll hear how the state is going to come and cross-examine him and perhaps obviously try to find loopholes in the statement he gave today.
All right. Lerato, thank you very much for that update. That's SABC News reporter Lerato Fekisi.